Growing up, we are taught that money is the root of all evil. But I'm here to tell you money is not the root of all evil. It is actually energy. Money has always been energy. And our parents were either in a past life where they were in poverty, they struggled, and now in this life, they're struggling to appreciate what they have. So therefore, they lash out at others for having this money. What other people do with their money is their choice, their business. It is not our business. It doesn't matter what we think. We only can control what we do. And that's the thing I'm learning about like being reactive towards someone who has more money. Instead of being reactive, I appreciate them that they have all that money and I wish them nothing but best because in the end, gratitude goes further than animosity or jealousy. And with the animosity and jealousy you see nowadays for people who don't have as much as they'd like and others do, they feel a sort of distant feeling of I should be doing better or this person should have be happy because they're making this kind of money. We don't know what's going on with people. And what I'm learning about spirituality is a lot of the work comes from within here. It comes within our heart. And we don't realize it because we're so caught up in others' realities. But when you actually sit with alone with your thoughts, tell me what actually comes out when you're not distracted, of course, like when you're around just you and you alone, no one else around with you, no television, no phone, no nothing. You're going to hear your thoughts for a while. It's going to be loud like static. But after you finish all of that, what is in your mind? What do your thoughts tell you? I bet you they don't tell you to be jealous of that person because they have more money or to be angry with that person. What we don't realize is we don't understand what people are going through on a day-to-day basis. So when we talk to them at work and they're not on the same level as us and you're getting frustrated. But instead of getting frustrated, take a moment and think maybe something might be going on with that coworker and why they aren't achieving the productivity you would like them to be achieving. What is the root cause of why they are slowing down production? Ask yourself that. If you were in that person's shoe, what would you think? Think about what the people are going through, but at the same time, don't allow yourself to get into that same state of mind because that is easily attainable. And we don't realize it. When we're listening to, say, someone vent, we can get into that reality because our mind can go there and we don't even realize it's happening. And later on, you might feel sad or depressed and you don't know why. It's because your mind was inside. That thought of that person came inside your mind and it started to plant a seed. And that's where you got to be careful. But at the same time, be empathetic towards people because you don't know what they're going through. And we'll never know that because we're not mind readers. If we were mind readers, then there would be no more conflict. There'd be no more division because people would know what each other's thinking. Instead, we got people divided because of an opinion. An opinion doesn't matter. Everyone's got an opinion. But to argue over such a thing, why? Why are we arguing over this? Because we don't realize what this person's opinion means to them. It could mean the world to them. And they're so passionate about it. And they don't realize that the passion is causing the division. And you got to be careful with your thoughts because your thoughts can take off on you. They can also overwhelm you and they can lead you to division or arguments. And you don't even realize it. Like when I have an argument or if there's something that I don't agree with, instead of opening my mouth right away to become to that energy level, I stop and think, okay, what's this person going through? Why am I being reactive to this? This has nothing to do with me. So why should I go to their energy level when I can just stay here and be calm and collected? That's where we learn through patience and practice and becoming aware of ourselves, of the energies around us, of the environments we're in. And you start to take a minute to think about it, and you realize that you have full control on how the situation goes on your side. You can't control what the other person's doing, but how you react when a person gets upset with you is entirely up to you. Now, what I've learned in a lot of arguments with people, like screaming matches, it gets you nowhere. And at the end of it, you feel exhausted because you're drained from each other, sucking each other's energy, because you're so mad at one another that you're constantly screaming louder and louder, and your vibration is getting denser and denser, and you don't even realize that it's happening because you're so caught up in that moment of anger that you lose all control, and you have no control anymore. It's all the emotion controls you. It owns you. And you don't even realize it's happening until after you're done, the fight's over. It's like you just came to because you blacked out. I know with me, I used to black out a lot when I would get angry. When I was done being angry, I would realize what I did, but it was already too late. Now, instead of becoming reactive, I stop and think, why am I getting angry about this? It is pointless to get angry about something that's not going to affect me. What goes on in politics is whatever. What goes on in the world, whatever. That's everyone's choice. Everyone has a right to do whatever they want. I don't agree with it, but I'm not going to get myself angry, and I'm not going to think less of a person because they have a different opinion than me, or divide myself from them because they have a different opinion. At the end of the day, we're all energy. We're all equal. There is no division when we're the same. If you have an opinion or not, that's entirely up to you. That's your right. That's your choice. But I'm not going to allow it to dictate how I feel. Instead, I'm just going to let it go and just be in the moment of positivity instead of negativity, because negativity can lead you down some dark holes. And that's where insecurity comes from. That's where anxiety comes from. See those two things? I already created those. Just by going down to the side of negativity, the second you go there, you started to create anxiety. You started to create insecurity. And you don't even realize that you're doing it because you're insecure about what others think. I'm not. At the end of the day, we're all the same. So if we're going to argue over something that involves politics, different races, different sexuality, why? What's the point? What are we serving? Nothing. We're distracting ourselves to the point where we're arguing over something meaningless. And we don't even realize we're arguing over it because we're so caught up in that moment. In the first place, we could have just taken a breath, each of us, closed our eyes, and thought, what we're doing is not going to solve anything. It's definitely not going to serve a purpose. So why would we do it to begin with? Because we have been conditioned to think this way. We have been conditioned to want to argue with each other. We have been taught it is better to be competitive. Why? Why do we need to be competitive when we can all have the same thing? We can all have abundance, we can all have clarity, we can all have joy, we can have prosperity, we can have it all. But we choose not to because we have been manipulated into believing that we need to basically kill each other or compete with one another for no apparent reason. Because we were brainwashed since birth to think this way. And our parents were brainwashed, and their parents were brainwashed. The cycle continues, and yet we don't see it because we don't pay attention. But when you actually become aware and think about what's wrong with that person, why do you think they're angry right now? Well, I'm sure, yes, they've been manipulated, abused their entire life. So why? Why did that happen to them? Because they created it. Just like I created my abuse, my trauma. I created it. And that's the harsh truth. Whether you want to believe it or not, you create your own reality. So in an example, if you have a coworker and you don't like this coworker, do you know that you imagine you didn't like this coworker as a thought and then that thought created something? No, I bet you didn't because you're not aware. When you become aware of how your mind works, how this whole system works, you start to realize that you don't need to become reactive. You start to realize that there's no point in being reactive. What is it going to serve? Nothing. It's just going to cause a headache for you and the person that you're arguing with. And this fight might not even be your idea to begin with. It might be someone else's idea, and you're getting so passionate about it because your algorithm has been targeted by this. So therefore, you get upset because you can relate. And when you relate, now I want to fight someone, even though I don't know why I'm fighting this person. It's because you're distracted. You're in another state of consciousness. Your mind is somewhere else. It's not in the moment. It's in the emotion. It's in the thought of the emotion. And it stayed there. And it festered and it grew into something. Now it's an argument. Now it's a war. And you don't even realize it happened because it was planted in your head just by having a conversation with someone. Your emotion took over and it fed what that person was saying to you. And that emotion grew into a bomb or a spark to ignite a fight. And you didn't even know it was happening because your mind was somewhere else. But when you stop and think about what everybody's going through and how they're all on states of consciousness and they're doing this all unconsciously, you think they're offending you. They're not offending you. You're creating the idea that they're offending you. It happened to me. I did the same thing. I used to think the exact same way. That person's wrong. Oh, I should stand up to that person. No, I shouldn't because I don't know what that person's going through. Why should I get angry at that person? And it just dawned on me. But you never will know this until you get out of the box. Take accountability for yourself. Take an understanding that you are causing all of this. You are. Nobody else is causing it because it's in your reality. And you don't even realize that it's in your reality because you're distracted. So why get angry with someone over something as small as wanting to be a man or wanting to be a woman? Who cares? Let them be that way. If that's their choice, why does that bother you? Or if they're a different race or they didn't get vaccinated or vice versa, why does it matter? Because you were taught it matters. They want you divided. They want you distracted. They want us all fighting amongst each other. Because divided we fall, united we stand. That's the thing we don't get. That's the beautiful thing about spirituality is there's no judgment. There's no looking for other people's faults. There's understanding one another. Understanding the true meaning of compassion, love, respect, teamwork, building relationships, understanding yourself. Yeah, you're going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But that's the point of learning. When you stop learning, that's when you've achieved your success. That's when you are ready to leave. That's when you're done. But in order to do that, you have to do the work on yourself. You have to do internal work, growth, understand. People may not like the new you, but I guarantee you will like the new you when you start to work on yourself. Then others around you will make more sense why they're angry. Because they were taught the same thing you were taught. Division, competitiveness. They were taught it too. We're all taught the same, and we don't even realize we're being taught it. It could be a different ethnicity or vice versa. But either way, we're all taught the same stuff to keep us divided. When you actually get away from society and you stay alone with your thoughts, or do a solo retreat, go on a solo retreat for 3 days without a phone, just you and your thoughts and a journal. And tell me what that journal says when you're done writing it. I guarantee you'll write about 60 or 70 pages because you have so much in your head that you want to get out, but you're not getting it out because you're buried in your phone. You're buried in social media. You're buried in the news. You're buried in politics. You're so gone from real reality because you've been manipulated into believing something that's not there, that's not real, because it was an idea, a state of consciousness to be exact, that we don't even realize that's happening to us. Until you get out of that state of consciousness and you start to think for yourself, you start to understand that it's better to love and be compassionate towards others instead of judging others because of our insecurities or our trauma that, again, we created. Everything that happened to us in life, we created it. All it was an idea. Everything is an idea. When the idea creates in your mind that version of yourself, and you don't even realize it's happening. That is the beautiful thing about manipulation and brainwashing. And you can take it or leave it, but it's the truth. When you stop and think with your mind totally clear, leave a comment in this video and tell me when you're not around technology or any form of distraction and your mind finally stops with the loud static and you start thinking, you tell me what you think. You just let me know. I bet you it's going to tell you that you create everything that is in your life. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be on the path you're on in life. I know I created my trauma, and I'm blessed because I created my trauma, because it brought me a podcast. It brought me my beautiful fiance. All it started was just me journaling and talking about my thoughts. But we don't have that creative mindset because we're so programmed to be a cog in a machine and basically show up to work every day, take orders or no orders, I don't know what you do, and just keep living to exist, not living to live. None of this is being thought. It's all being pushed into your head. Everything's being pushed into your head. But when you get away from all of that chatter, all of the drama, and you get alone with your thoughts, and you even learn to try meditating for 5 minutes, you'll see that you create everything that happens to you. Have a wonderful day. Don't let this stress you out. It's part of life. It's 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 a movie. Now you can choose to live in a comedy, you can choose to live in a drama, you can choose to live in a war movie, or you can choose to live in the reality you want. The choice is yours. I know each and every one of you are probably confused right now, but check it out. Read it in books. Like, look at the Master Key System. Look at The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Check out any books by Joe Dispenza. Check out any books by Dolores Cannon. Like, research it. Like, you don't have to believe me. You don't have to take my word for it, but it's the truth. It's reality. We literally can control our realities, and we literally control everything that happens to us in life. And we don't even realize it because we're distracted and we're fighting each other for no reason because they want us distracted. But until you understand this, you're going to continue to be distracted, and you're going to continue to be angry and have no patience and hate everyone for no reason. You don't even know why you hate them. Take time with your thoughts and see what comes out. When you're away from technology and alone and quiet, do it before you go to bed. And try not to go to bed angry, because
When you go to bed angry, then that emotion that you created, that goes with you to work the next day. Even if you wake up in the morning after you think you've had a wonderful dream or maybe had a beautiful coffee, you still have that emotion in the back of your mind because you created it before you went to bed. Because everything we create is when we go to sleep. That version of you follows you the next day, but you don't realize it. But you'll get the hang of it. Just take time with it. I love you all. Much love.